Morning everyone. My name's Vicky and I run the National Paralympic Heritage Trust, which is based in Aylesbury at Stoke Mandeville, which is the birthplace of the Paralympics. Today I've invited you along to make an origami crane, which seems like a really odd connection to the Paralympics. What in the world has that got to do with the Paralympics? So a quick history lesson. In 1964 in Tokyo, it was the second official Paralympic Games. And there was a man who had been homebound for many years with cerebral palsy. And he heard about the games and he knew about origami. He had very limited movement in both his hands and his feet. And he knew that a crane was a symbol of good luck and hope. So quite pertinent to the times at the moment. And he started making these little cranes. And apparently if you make 1,000 of them with a wish in the middle, your wish will come true. It was a remarkable feat for him. He had to, he made thousands and thousands and thousands. And he had to use both his hands and his mouth and his feet to make them. But it was the complete making of him, because when the Japanese government heard about this, they invited him to the Games, and his kind of social life and his life as somebody being accepted with disabilities began. And I've got a photograph here. This is a lady called Sally Haynes, and she's sitting at a table at the Tokyo Games in the cafeteria, and round her neck are hundreds and hundreds of paper cranes in a necklace, so probably about half the size of this. So bear with me and we'll have a go at making one. I have some origami paper, you may not. If you haven't got origami paper, a piece of ordinary paper will do. And to make it into a square, which is what you need, you have to fold half of it up like that and then cut off this bit. I'll just do that with a ruler. Gosh, this feels very Blue Peter. So you end up with a square like that. So hopefully you've all got your square with you and you're ready to begin. Origami paper normally comes with two different sides. For me, I want my crane to end up with the coloured side on it, and that's important when you begin doing this. So the first thing you've got to do is fold your square in half, and that's that way, with the colour, the side you want on the outside with this first fold. So if you do that, and don't worry if you don't get all of this and you need to go back, there will be a film automatically created at the end of this that you can go back to. So that's the first fold. Now you need to fold it in the other direction, exactly the same. Like that. Now before I go any further, I've forgotten something. I want you to write in it message of good luck, of hope, anything you like. I'm going to write in mine the kind of purpose of the Paralympic Heritage Trust, which is to break down barriers to disability. And write it on the inside, then it's yours, your secret, nobody else sees it. So there's mine, upside down, so you can see. And I've got the two folds in there. So, actually, whilst you're doing that, because it might be taking you a minute to do that, I'm going to wind forward from 1964 all the way through to 2021. So in 2021, the Games are going back to Tokyo. And for that, there's going to be a heritage flame lighting at Stoke Mandeville Stadium, where you pass the flame virtually onto Tokyo for their torch relay before the Games. And as part of that, we're hoping that people will be making paper cranes and sending them to us. A year away yet, but you can save them up and send them to us later. And we're going to be putting them all together and forming a really beautiful sculpture, working with one of our artists, which will form part of that ceremony. So there is another purpose to this. So we've done those 2 folds. Now the next one is going to fold it inside out and diagonally. So like that. One way and then the opposite way. All got that? And it's sort of bending in like a dish. But what I want you to do is pop it out the other way. Just rest it on your desk in front of you. And then I want you to pick it up. So if you pick it up and fold it in like that, put it in together, you end up with a little square which you can open up like that. And there's a closed end, that's the closed end, and then there's an open end, an end that opens like that. It's really important to remember you're working often to the open end, otherwise you'll get it completely wrong, and I've done that myself several times. So we have a square, we have a top end and an open end, and the next thing is to where the open end is, you're going to fold in this to the center. I'll do one and then I can show you. So like that, you take one of the flaps, because your square has 2 flaps. Take one of the flaps and fold it into the center like that. Then you're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So you end up something that looks like that on one side and like that on the other. But it's with that open end. And then this top bit, like a little triangle, you're just going to fold back. That now looks like that on one side. Rather 1930s sort of design, isn't it? And that on the other. But you want to bring that flap back up. You're going to fold it in the other direction in a minute. I'm going to give you a second to do that. Hopefully you're there now. And you're going to turn it over and do exactly the same on the other side. Keep checking that it's the open end. And fold the top bit back in the opposite direction, and you've got like a little kite on there now. This is the tricky bit. This is the bit that to me is like learning to juggle from 2 balls to 3 balls. Something needs to click in your head sometimes for this one. But as I say, if you can't do it, don't panic. There will be a film and you can go back to it and have a go again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open up those 2 sides, and I'm going to hold it where that fold is, that little triangle at the top, and I'm going to force that open, but holding it there, and it kind of closes. You can then fold it up. It's like creating a mouth. It's quite tricky. It might take you a minute to do that. So what I did, I'll do it on the other side. I opened those folds up. Origami is all about folding to help you put things in a position. I held it there, where that crease is, along there. and pushed it open. Gently pulled it back. And you end up with this, again, a sort of kite shape as well, but all with equal sides. And one end has legs, the other end doesn't. The other end is pretty solid. Those are going to become your wings, and that's going to be the body. These bits are going to become the neck and the tail feathers of the crane. I'll just show that again, if I can unfold it. There we go, there's an unfolded one. So you do that, and I'm struggling that to there, and you've got the leggy end and the closed end. So again, really important, we're working with the leggy end. The next thing is you're going to, got two flaps as well on there. So you're going to take one of those flaps and you're going to fold it in to the center. Don't worry about getting it right along that line. It's actually better if there's a bit of a gap. So I'll do the first one and show you. Hopefully you can see that on there. Then I'm going to do the other side. And you can see I've left a bit of a gap between that fold in there. I haven't made them join up perfectly on that. So that's one side, that's the other side which hasn't been folded. And of course the next thing is to fold that other side. So now we've got some skinny legs. We've got wings at the top and a body in the middle. So you've got these two skinny legs there. So I'm going to just leave it a minute so that you can get that done. In our village, actually, I've seen somebody and they've made a rainbow of cranes and they're hanging across their window, which I think is really lovely. Obviously, as I said earlier on, quite kind of pertinent to the times. But I just thought how nice that they've actually used origami cranes and created a rainbow of them. And I've had people using them, it's very popular at the moment, using them at weddings as well. So hopefully, we're nearly there. We are nearly there. One of these, as I said, is going to be the neck, one's the head. So you need to angle them kind of where you approximately want a head and a tail. So you're just bending them upwards there. You can always manipulate them afterwards. It doesn't have to be perfect. I like to then bend them in the opposite direction. It gets slightly trickier here because it's quite chunky, the paper on there. There we go. So you've bent them up. This is another tricky bit, another brain tester. Undo them. Then what you want to do is flip it, turn it to the side, open that up and flip it up, and then close the sides. This is something you might have to kind of fiddle around with a bit afterwards. So open it up, open it up, flip that up, and then close it in. So I haven't quite got my angle right there at all. So I'm just going to pull that slightly. So I want it sticking out at a wider angle, like that. And then you need a head. We're missing a head. So all I'm doing is opening up one of those spikes, and I'm pressing it down and then folding it in. So at the moment it looks like a headless crane. That's not very good. But if you then pull it out, oops, pop back in again, it can sit there like a little head. And then you can pull down the wings like that, and you have your crane. Simple as that. She says, I've had lots of practice, you probably haven't, so not always easy. So there is your paper crane. And you can imagine if you have thousands of these that we hope to have kind of hanging up, how beautiful that's going to be, all with hidden messages inside them. So do keep an eye on our website, and do get involved. We'll be probably inviting people to start sending them in. There will be the request of a contribution just to help us pay for an artist to pull it all together into a sculpture. But we won't be beginning that officially until the autumn, when we can get back into our office, hopefully. But keep an eye on the website, and do go and check out the Tokyo Games 1964. They were really incredible, actually, and the Japanese were way ahead of their time in their whole approach to the games at that stage, and it's a long time ago now. Thank you ever so much for coming along. We are on social media quite a bit, sharing our collections, and if you haven't seen it yet, do go on and you can have a virtual tour of our Heritage Centre and other exhibitions we've put on across the country. You can explore those through your computer and mouse, you can wear VR goggles, or you can do video tours as well. So you can come and visit us even though we are officially closed at the moment. I've got some messages up there. I've got someone saying, simple, I'm going to have to replay a few times, I think. And somebody else, just watching. It's not simple, I do appreciate that. But you will find when you go back to it and do it again, that you'll gradually get it. And like me, I can do it now without looking at something. Although I have to say, I was pretty nervous this morning. Anyway, take care, and we'll do something again live, I expect, in the holidays. And thank you very much for coming along and being part of it. Oh, somebody's just said you can blow them up. That's not an explosive. Yes, you're right. The top is pretty sealed, but at the bottom there's actually like a little hole. This doesn't always work, but I'll make a fool of myself and give it a go. Sometimes you can blow into it and the body... It did work a little bit. There you go. So you can blow into it and then it raises up. So many thanks, and see you again. Lovely to have you with us. Bye.